Let's turn this bunch of driftwood into a holoform vase. Well, I'm not too sure if a holoform vase actually exists, but this project's certainly in between a holoform and a vase, so let's call it that. And as you can see, and I'm sure some of you will point out, I won't be using an insert in the middle of the project. Obviously that means I will need a little bit more resin. And for this project I will be using less resin, and specifically the deep pour epoxy resin, which is designed for bigger resin projects such as this vase, or for any resin river table project. If you fancy making your own resin project, I have a link down below in the description, which is an Amazon affiliated link for UK and US customers. No extra charge for you, but they do share a little bit of a commission with me, so I can reinvest back into some awesome projects. So thank you for your support. And yeah, this will be another blue project, and no, I'm not always using blue. However, my customers tend to prefer blue, and also 29% of the women in the world prefers blue, and 42% of men prefers blue, or their favorite color is blue in the world. But I do get all the anti-blue folks out there, and that's why I do a variety of different colors as well. For this project alone, I used about 2.5–3 kg of resin, but once again, not having an insert in the middle will allow me to shape it in a way I wanted, and just opens up a little bit more possibilities in terms of how I can turn this into a vase. After 1 week of curing, I was ready to take this out of the mold. And using compressed air, I find it one of the best way to salvage the foam, and just very easily removes from any pot. As long as it has a nice smooth surface, resin will not stick to that plastic. And check this out. And it's time to put this in a lathe and turn it into a cool looking hybrid vase. As part of my objectives for 2025, just to do a little bit more entertainment through my content, I purchased this super cool jacket, which I think is a true representation of all the amazing colors I use in my resin projects. You may experience some shaky footage and vibration. This is due to vibration transferring through the floor into the tripod, what causes the camera to vibrate as well. However, for the future project, I sorted out this issue by simply having a wall-mounted camera holder, and then I will be moving that camera holder around the piece rather than having a tripod on the floor. I then seemed to resolve my issue with any vibration transferring through the floorboards. I covered this in previous videos. As you can see, there is a lot of chip outs purely because the piece is a little bit unbalanced, and I can only turn it on a lower speed until I'm able to turn it and running completely true. And then once I have most of the materials removed, which causes the piece to be unbalanced, then I can start ramping up the speed. And as you can see here, nice thick ribbons flying off the lathe, which means the piece is already running true, and then we can go higher up on RPM. And as you can see, that make a whole lot of difference in terms of cutting resin. And if you like how this piece turned out, this wasn't a commission piece, and this is available on my website, link down below. And as you can see, since I don't have the insert in the middle, I will be able to shape this into a slightly different form than what I normally turn my vases into. And I will only have a small opening hole so that I can hold all the inside of the vase. And once I'm ready with the work on the outside of the vase, I can then start moving on to working on the inside using a 50mm Forstner bit to core out some of the materials on the inside. Then I can move on to a set of different chisels to then hollow it out. When I use a Forstner bit, I normally turn the lathe on the lower speed, so about 350 RPM. That still allows me to remove the material in a decent speed, but reduces the possibility of overheating the Forstner bit. Then I can move over and put my trusted homemade steady rest onto the piece, which helps me with any side-to-side vibrations, what then resolves into nice and cleaner cuts. And very interestingly, here I'm also using carbide bit, but not the same negative rake type of bit. This is a normal traditional bit, what normally works not too well on the outside of the project because it causes a lot of chip outs. And for whatever reason, when I use this bit on the inside of a project, it doesn't really cause much chip outs. So, but it also removes a lot more material, so I like to use them. Once I was ready hollowing the inside, I then went back to remove a little bit more materials on the outside. I wanted a narrow bottom for this particular project, but I didn't want to remove all the material before I did all the hollowing, since this extra thickness at the bottom did help me to core the inside. But once the inside was all done, then I can just remove all the material on the outside, since the work already done on the inside, so I don't really need the extra material to support the turning. Then just using my negative rake skew chisel to remove all the tool marks just before moving on to some sanding. Starting from 120 grit, I will be making my way all the way up to 180 because I will be using Let's Resin tabletop epoxy resin to give a nice high gloss finish to this project. Since resin will fill all the little scratches left by the 180 grits, you don't really have to go any higher. It's also recommended to keep it around 180, maximum 240, because you want the resin to grip onto the piece, so you need a little bit of a rougher surface. And just by using a brush, it will nicely spread the resin across the piece, and I will run the lathe for a good 3 to 4 hours until it cures, and then I can take it off and take it inside the house for a few days to cure before I then return it back to the lathe and I can part it off from the lathe. And the only thing left to do is just a quick drilling at the bottom for my branding coin, a little bit of the sanding, and using some 5 minutes epoxy resin we can pop the coin in. And as I mentioned, this piece is available on my website along with dozens of incredible creations with free worldwide shipping if you fancy having some nice vibrant project in your household. Let me know down below in the comments what color should I use for the next Driftwood project, because I have more of this amazing wood. Thank you for watching. See you soon.